Captain Olivia Reeves stared at the view screen of the UNSC Horizon. The small ship floating before them was unlike anything she had ever seen. It was smooth, with no visible engines or weapons, and seemed to glow with a faint blue light. "Is it responding to our signals?" she asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Lieutenant William Carter shook his head. "No, Captain, but it's definitely scanning us. I've never seen scan patterns like these before." The bridge of the horizon was silent. Everyone knew what this meant. After centuries of wondering, humanity finally had its answer. They were not alone in the universe. "Dr. Mitchell, any thoughts?" Captain Reeves turned to the ship's xenobiologist, Alan. Mitchell was hunched over his console, his face lit by the blue glow of his screen. "The ship design suggests a civilization far beyond our own. No visible propulsion, yet it matched our course perfectly when we changed direction. The Horizon was a science vessel, one of Earth's few ships capable of faster-than-light travel. Humanity had only recently expanded beyond their solar system, with small colonies on Mars and Europa. Their space fleet was modest, mostly research vessels, with a few peacekeeping ships for protection." "It's moving," Carter said suddenly. I think it's trying to lead us somewhere." Reeves nodded. "Follow it, but keep a safe distance. And send a message back to Earth. Admiral Ward needs to know about this." For 6 hours they followed the strange ship through space until a massive structure appeared before them. It was a space station, at least 10 times larger than Earth's biggest orbital platform. Ships of various designs moved around it. "I count at least 20 different ship configurations," Carter said in awe. "Those can't all be from the same species." The alien ship guided them to a docking bay large enough to hold the Horizon. As they approached, a voice came through their communication system, speaking perfect English. "Greetings, vessel from Earth. We welcome you to Diplomatic Station Alpha 9 of the Galactic Conclave. Please dock at the designated bay. Your arrival has been anticipated." Reeves exchanged looks with her crew. "They speak our language. How is that possible?" "They must have been monitoring our broadcasts," Mitchell said. "Earth has been sending radio and television signals into space for over 200 years. After docking, Reeves assembled a small team. Herself, Lieutenant Carter, and Dr. Mitchell. As the airlock opened, they were met by 3 aliens. The central figure was tall and slender with blue-tinted skin and large, wise-looking eyes. The 2 others were different species entirely, one short and stocky with rough, bark-like skin, and the other appeared almost human except for the silver, eyes that reflected light like mirrors. The blue-skinned alien stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Kelthar of the Galactic Conclave. We represent a federation of 47 spacefaring species who share knowledge, resources, and peaceful relations. I am Captain Olivia Reeves of the United Nations Space Command vessel Horizon. This is Lieutenant William Carter and Dr. Alan Mitchell." The alien bowed slightly. "We have been observing your world for some time. Your species has progressed remarkably quickly. We believe Earth is ready to join the galactic community." For the next several hours, they were given a tour of the massive station. They saw areas where various alien species worked together. Incredible. Technology that seemed like magic, and gardens containing plants from dozens of worlds. During a formal meeting later, Reeves noticed something odd. Though the aliens were friendly, they seemed nervous. There was tension in how they moved, how they watched the humans when they thought no one was looking. "The Conclave wishes to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth," Ambassador Kelthar explained. "We would like to invite a delegation to our central world to discuss your planet joining our alliance." "That would be an honor," Reeves replied, "but I don't have the authority to accept such an invitation. I would need to communicate with our leaders." "Of course," the ambassador said. Then he asked something strange. "Would you be willing to share information about your defensive capabilities?" Reeves frowned. "Our defensive capabilities? The Horizon is a science vessel. We have minimal weapons for protection against asteroids and space debris." The ambassador exchanged glances with his colleagues. "Yes, of course, this vessel. But what of your other ships?" "We have peacekeeping vessels that patrol our colonies, but our space fleet is relatively small. We've only developed faster-than-light travel in the last decade." Another alien whispered something to Kelthar, who nodded. Captain Reeves, please understand that the galaxy can be a dangerous place. Not all species share the Conclave's peaceful goals. Are you referring to a specific threat? Carter asked. Kelthar hesitated. There is a species known as the Krell. They believe in conquest rather than cooperation. They have been expanding their territory, and several Conclave worlds have been attacked in recent years. That evening, as the humans were shown to their quarters on the station, Lieutenant Carter pulled Captain Reeves aside. There's something strange going on, he said quietly. I've been watching them. They're afraid of us. Afraid? Why would advanced aliens fear humans? Reeves asked. I don't know, but did you notice how they keep asking about our ships? It's like they think we're hiding something. Dr. Mitchell joined them. I noticed it too. When I mentioned that we had only colonized Mars and Europa, one of them seemed shocked. He asked if that was really all we had claimed. Reeves shook her head. Let's be careful. We don't want any misunderstandings. The next day, during further discussions, the humans were introduced to a wider council of alien representatives. Maps of the galaxy were shown, territories explained, and trade routes described. The humans were amazed by the scale of the Conclave's influence. As they discussed potential relations, an aide rushed in and whispered urgently to Ambassador Kelthar. The ambassador's face changed to a deeper shade of blue. Is something wrong? Reeves asked. A Krell scout ship has been detected, near this station, Kelthar said. There is no immediate danger, but we should conclude our meeting. As they were being escorted back to their ship, Reeves overheard two aliens talking in what they thought was a private conversation. One was the aide who had brought the news. Why would the Krell come here now? Do you think they know about the humans? The other alien, a security officer judging by his uniform, responded with words that would change humanity's future forever. They must have heard the same reports we did. They want to see for themselves. He glanced nervously at the humans walking ahead of them. I don't blame them for being curious. After all, those aren't even their warships. If the intelligence is correct, Earth's real fleet must be terrifying. The humans gave no sign they had heard, but as they boarded the horizon, Lieutenant Carter looked at Captain Reeves with wide eyes. Did you hear that? They think we have a hidden fleet. They think the horizon isn't even a warship. Reeves nodded slowly. The question is, why do they think that? And what happens when they discover the truth? 3 months after first contact, Ambassador Gregory Palmer stepped off the shuttle onto Conclave Diplomatic Station Alpha 9. He smoothed down his formal suit and took a deep breath. Behind him, Commander Samantha Nichols watched the alien station, with sharp eyes. As Earth's military attaché and security chief for this mission, she trusted nothing and no one. Ready, Ambassador? She asked quietly. Palmer nodded. As ready as anyone can be to represent all of humanity to a galactic civilization. Their ship was a retrofitted civilian transport. Earth had no proper diplomatic vessels, so they had added nicer quarters and meeting rooms to an old passenger liner. To the humans, it seemed humble. To the watching aliens, it was another piece of the puzzle. Look at their ship, whispered Zorthal, the Conclave security director, to his colleague. No visible weapons again. Just like their scout ship. Eliax, the Conclave intelligence officer assigned to study humans, nodded. Their technological camouflage is impressive. According to my research, humans are masters of deception. A delegation of 5 different alien species greeted the humans. Ambassador Kelthar, whom Captain Reeves had met during first contact, led them. Ambassador Palmer, welcome to Conclave Space. We are honored by your presence. Palmer smiled warmly. The honor is all ours, Ambassador Kelthar. Earth is excited to join the galactic community. As they walked through the station, Palmer noticed other aliens moving away when they passed. Some watched with obvious fear, others with curiosity. He had expected curiosity, but not fear. In their assigned quarters, Commander Nichols ran a security scan. Sir, we're being watched. I've detected surveillance equipment throughout our rooms. Palmer frowned. That seems excessive for guests. Keep your observations quiet for now. During the next few days, the humans attended meetings about conclave, laws, trade agreements, and shared technologies. In one session, a map showed the Krell Empire's expansion and attacks on conclave worlds. The Krell believe that conquest proves superiority, explained Kelthar. They have destroyed 3 conclave colony worlds in the past year alone. That's terrible, Palmer said. Earth would be willing to provide humanitarian aid for refugees. The alien representatives exchanged glances. One of them leaned forward. Ambassador Palmer, we were hoping for a different kind of assistance from Earth. Palmer looked puzzled. What kind of assistance? Military assistance, Kelthar said simply. Your defense capabilities would be a valuable addition to our efforts against the Krell. Commander Nichols spoke carefully. Earth's military is focused on defending our own colonies. Our space fleet is still developing. Again, that strange look passed between the aliens. Palmer was starting to find it unsettling. Meanwhile, in another part of the station, Eliax was showing his findings to Zorthal. On a large screen played clips from Earth broadcasts, war movies showing massive battles, science fiction shows depicting planet-destroying weapons, documentary footage of nuclear tests. Most concerning are these, Eliax said, pulling up images of Earth's naval vessels. They call these aircraft carriers and submarines. They operate only in water, yet they're larger than many conclave spaceships. Why would a species put such resources into water vessels unless their space fleet is even more formidable? Zorthal nodded grimly. And they claim to have only a small space fleet. The deception continues. The next day, Palmer offered a technical exchange program. Earth has made rapid advances in materials science and computing. We'd be happy to share our knowledge. The conclave officials became visibly uncomfortable. One whispered to another. They want to evaluate our technology first. Palmer noticed their reaction. Is something wrong with my proposal? Kelthar recovered. Quickly. Not at all. We would be interested in a limited exchange to start. That evening, Palmer and Nichols discussed the strange behavior. They're treating us like we're dangerous, Palmer said. But why? Earth is barely a spacefaring civilization compared to them. Nichols shrugged. Maybe they've had bad experiences with other new species. Their conversation was interrupted by a blaring alarm. The station's lights switched to a pulsing red. Attention, all personnel, came a voice over the speakers. Krell vessels approaching. This is not a drill. Security teams to your stations. Commander Nichols grabbed her sidearm. Stay here, Ambassador. No, Palmer said firmly. If the station is in danger, I should help coordinate with our team. They hurried to the command center where chaos reigned. Aliens rushed about shouting orders and preparing defenses. Kelthar spotted them. Ambassador, you should return to your quarters for safety. We want to help, Palmer insisted. What's happening? A large screen showed 3 angular, predatory-looking ships approaching the station. Weapons fire flashed between them and the station's defenses. Krell raiding party, Zorthal explained tersely. They often attack diplomatic stations to gather intelligence. Suddenly, the station shook violently. Lights flickered. They've disabled our main defense grid, someone shouted. Boarding parties detected in Section 7 and 12, another voice called out. Commander Nichols stepped forward. Ambassador, with your permission, I'd like to offer assistance. Palmer nodded, and Nichols addressed Zorthal. I have combat experience. Put me where you need help. The security director hesitated only briefly before the station shook again. Section 7, the closest to our civilian quarters. Nichols nodded and left immediately. Palmer watched her go, then turned to Kelthar. How can I help? In Section 7, Nichols found a group of conclave security officers pinned down by Krell attackers. The Krell were large, reptilian beings with natural armor and powerful energy weapons. Nichols assessed the situation quickly. The station's security forces had better positions but inferior tactics. They were firing directly at the Krell's armored fronts. You, she called to the nearest officer. I need access to environmental controls for this section. The alien looked confused but directed her to a nearby panel. Nichols quickly studied it and began adjusting settings. "What are you doing?" the officer asked. "Creating an advantage," she replied. Suddenly, the gravity in the corridor ahead switched off. The Krell, unprepared, began floating awkwardly. At the same time, emergency fire suppressant foam sprayed from ceiling nozzles, further disorienting them. "Now aim for their joints and eye protection," Nichols ordered, demonstrating by hitting a floating Krell precisely where its armor plates connected. The security team followed her example, and within minutes, the Krell attackers were neutralized. Similar scenes played out elsewhere on the station as Nichols coordinated with security teams, using station systems in unconventional ways to overcome the technologically superior Krell. 2 hours later, the attack was repelled. In the command center, Palmer found himself the center of attention. "Your security chief's tactics were unexpected," Zorthal said carefully. "Commander Nichols is resourceful," Palmer replied simply. The aliens exchanged those strange looks, again. As Palmer and Nichols left the command center, they overheard 2 Conclave officers talking quietly. "Did you see how quickly she adapted our systems? How effectively she countered their attacks?" "Yes," the other replied in a hushed tone. "They're testing us. Their real warriors must be terrifying." Palmer and Nichols shared a confused glance but said nothing as they returned to their quarters. The misunderstanding was growing, and neither of them understood why. 6 months after first contact, Captain Jack Sullivan guided his freighter, the Lucky Star, toward the busy spaceport on Conclave world Terralix Prime. The ship was an old Earth cargo vessel, repurposed for interstellar trade after humanity joined the Conclave. It rumbled and shook as it entered the atmosphere, its outdated engines straining. "This bucket of bolts barely made the journey," his co-pilot Owen Kelly complained, adjusting controls that sparked occasionally. "She may not look pretty, but she gets the job done," Sullivan replied with affection. He had invested his life savings to buy this ship and start the first human trading company in Conclave space. As they approached the landing pad, Sullivan noticed something odd. Other ships were moving away, giving them a wide berth. The landing controller sounded nervous when directing them to their spot. "Unusual welcome," Kelly noted. "Think they don't like humans?" Sullivan shrugged. "Let's find out." After landing, Sullivan was surprised to find a security team waiting. They kept their distance, weapons not drawn but clearly visible. "Captain Sullivan," the lead officer said, "your cargo will need special inspection before offloading." "Special inspection? It's just coffee and chocolate. Earth delicacies, nothing dangerous." The security team exchanged glances. One whispered, "They claim it's just food." Sullivan heard this and frowned. "It is just food. What did you think it was?" The officers looked uncomfortable. "Standard procedure for advanced technology." Meanwhile, on Earth, Maria Rodriguez was leading a cultural exchange program with Conclave representatives. As Earth's cultural liaison, she was responsible for helping aliens understand human society. "Today we'll learn about human entertainment," she explained to a group of 10 different alien species. "Movies, television, books. They're how we tell stories." She started a presentation showing clips from various genres. When scenes from action movies played, explosions, car chases, fictional space battles, she noticed the aliens becoming tense. "These are just stories," she explained, noticing their discomfort. "Not real events." One alien, a tall being with crystalline features, raised an appendage. "Your historical documentation shows your species consistently engaged in planetary warfare, yet you claim to have a limited military presence in space." Maria laughed, then realized the alien was serious. "Those aren't historical documents, they're fiction, made-up stories for entertainment." The aliens looked skeptical. Another one spoke up. "We have analyzed thousands of your entertainment broadcasts. The technology shown is far beyond what you claim to possess. Why the deception?" Maria realized there was a serious misunderstanding happening. "There's no deception. Humans just enjoy imagining advanced technology in our stories. It's not real." In another part of Conclave space, General Richard Hayes of Earth's Defense Forces was attending a military strategy meeting. As Earth's highest-ranking military officer in space, he represented humanity's modest defense capabilities. The meeting room was filled with military leaders from various conclave species. A large holographic display showed Krell movement along conclave borders. "The Krell have increased activity near your solar system, General Hayes," said Vex Moore, the conclave's chief military strategist. "We believe they are testing your defenses." Hayes frowned. "Our defenses are minimal. We have patrol ships around Mars and Europa, but they're not equipped for major conflict." Vex Moore's expression was unreadable. "Yes, your visible defenses are indeed minimal." Hayes noticed the strange emphasis. "What do you mean, visible?" Before Vex Moore could respond, an aide hurried in with news. "The Krell have attacked a human mining operation in the asteroid belt. Earth ships are engaging." Hayes jumped to his feet. "What? We don't have combat ships in the asteroid belt." The room went silent. Vex Moore studied Hayes carefully. "Another level of your security protocols, General?" "No, I need to contact Earth immediately." The mining operation under attack was led by Ben Howard, a civilian foreman with no military training. When 3 Krell ships appeared and began firing, on the mining station, Howard made a desperate decision. "Release the tethers on asteroid CT-7, he ordered his team, "and fire up all the mining lasers." "The lasers won't penetrate their shields," his assistant pointed out. "I don't want to hit the ships," Howard explained. "Aim at the asteroid, full power." The mining lasers, designed to cut through rock, fired at the large asteroid. As planned, the concentrated heat caused a section to crack and break apart. Chunks of rock tumbled toward the Krell ships. 2 managed to evade, but the third was hit, its shields failing under the impact. When General Hayes finally established communication with the mining station, he was shocked by what he heard. "We used the asteroids against them, sir," Howard reported. "Took out 1 ship, damaged another. They've retreated for now." Hayes relayed this information at the strategy meeting. The alien military leaders seemed impressed but not surprised. "Effective use of local resources," Vex Moore commented. "A classic human tactic according to our analysis." Hayes was confused. "What analysis?" Vex Moore activated a holographic display showing what appeared to be a detailed study of human military history. It included footage from war movies, scientific papers on theoretical weapons, and even video game screenshots, all presented as factual documentation of Earth's capabilities. "This is mostly fiction," Hayes tried to explain. "Entertainment, or theoretical research, not actual weapons we possess." The aliens didn't appear convinced. One leaned over to Vex Moore and whispered, "They maintain the deception even now." Meanwhile, aboard the Lucky Star, Sullivan and Kelly were preparing to leave Terralix Prime after a successful trade run. As they performed pre-flight checks, they noticed a conclave military vessel scanning their ship. "What are they looking for?" Kelly wondered. Sullivan shook his head. "No idea." Aboard the conclave vessel, 2 officers watched the scan results with intense interest. "Their engine configuration is highly inefficient," one noted. "It must be deliberate." "Agreed," said the other. "Clever camouflage. No one would suspect such a primitive-looking vessel of advanced capabilities." As Sullivan departed, completely unaware of the alien's suspicions, a Krell intelligence operative was reporting to his superiors. "The information is confirmed. Earth vessels have destroyed one of our scout ships using only mining equipment. Their ability to weaponize civilian technology is unprecedented." The Krell commander studied the report. "All evidence suggests humans are hiding their true military power. Their apparent weakness must be a deception." "What are your orders, Commander?" "We must force them to reveal their real fleet. Prepare for a direct attack on their colony on Europa. They cannot allow it to fall without deploying their warships." Back on Earth, Maria Rodriguez met with General Hayes to share her concerns. "They don't believe me," she explained. "When I tell them our movies are fiction, they think it's part of some elaborate deception." Hayes nodded grimly. "Same in my meetings. They've convinced themselves we're hiding an advanced fleet somewhere. But why would they think that?" "I don't know, but the Krell apparently believe it too. Intelligence reports suggest they're planning something big. Before they could discuss further, an urgent message arrived. Krell ships had been detected approaching Europa colony. They would arrive in less than 24 hours. How many ships do we have that can reach Europa in time? Hayes asked an aide. 7 patrol vessels and the research ship Horizon. That's all, sir. Hayes looked grim. Then that's what we'll use. Send word to the conclave that we request immediate assistance. The aide looked confused. Sir, shouldn't we also deploy our other resources? Even Earth's military personnel had started believing the rumors. Hayes slammed his fist on the table. There are no other resources, no hidden fleet, no superweapons. Just those 8 ships and whatever defenses the colony has. The aide's eyes widened in shock. But sir, the conclave reports are wrong, Hayes finished. And when the Krell attack Europa, everyone will find out just how wrong. Admiral Frank Martinez stared at the display showing the approaching Krell fleet. 23 warships were heading toward Europa, one of Earth's most important colonies. Against them, he had only 7 patrol vessels and the science ship Horizon. This is suicide, said his second-in-command quietly. Martinez nodded. Maybe, but those are our people on Europa. We have to try. The admiral had spread his small fleet in a defensive formation around Europa. The colony itself had only basic defenses, a few ground-based energy cannons and a small shield generator that could protect the main dome for perhaps an hour under heavy fire. Back on Earth, Dr. Lydia Blackwell was working frantically in her lab. As head engineer for the Defense Forces, she was trying to find ways to improve their chances. The mining lasers worked against the Krell before, she told her team. So let's think bigger. What else can we repurpose? One of her assistants looked up. The atmospheric processors on Europa have powerful electromagnetic generators. Could we use those somehow? Lydia's eyes widened. Yes. If we reconfigure them to create an electromagnetic pulse, we might disable some of the Krell ship's systems, temporarily. She quickly contacted Admiral Martinez with the idea. Other scientists and engineers joined the effort, suggesting ways to turn civilian equipment into defensive systems. On Europa, Colony Governor Peter Wright was organizing evacuations to the emergency shelters. These deep underground chambers were built to protect people from radiation storms, not alien invasions. All non-essential personnel need to be underground within 2 hours, he instructed his staff. Priority to children and medical patients. A young engineer named Allison Garrett approached him. Governor, I have an idea. The ice harvesters we use to mine water from Europa's surface. They have powerful drills and cutting equipment. What about them? If we mount them on our maintenance vehicles, we could use them as weapons against ground forces if the Krell land troops. Wright looked skeptical but nodded. Do it. Use whatever you need. As the Krell fleet approached, Admiral Martinez received a surprising message from Conclave headquarters. They were sending observers but no military support. They want to see our real fleet in action, Martinez told his officers bitterly. They still think we're hiding our true strength. The first Krell ships entered firing range. They were massive compared to Earth's patrol vessels, heavily armed and protected by advanced shields. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Martinez ordered. Use the moon's gravity to increase speed and make yourselves difficult targets. The small Earth ships darted around Europa, using its gravity and icy surface to their advantage. They fired their limited weapons at the Krell ships, causing minimal damage but proving difficult to hit. On Europa's surface, Dr. Blackwell's team had successfully reprogrammed the atmosphere processors. Ready when you are, Admiral, she reported. Martinez waited until several Krell ships were in position. Now, the massive electromagnetic pulse surged outward from Europa's surface. 5 Krell ships closest to the moon suddenly lost power to their weapons systems. Their shields flickered but remained active. It worked. Partially, at least, Blackwell reported. But the generators are fried. We can't do that again. Martinez ordered his ships to concentrate fire on one of the affected Krell vessels. Without its weapon systems functioning properly, the Krell ship took heavy damage before retreating, but the victory was short-lived. The remaining Krell ships adjusted their shields and continued their advance. 2 Earth patrol vessels were destroyed. In the next wave of attacks, we can't hold them, Martinez admitted. Governor Wright, what's your evacuation status? 60% complete, Wright replied. We need more time. In orbit around Jupiter, a conclave observation vessel watched the battle. Commander Kellex studied the human defense with growing frustration. Where is their fleet? He demanded. These cannot be all the ships they have. His science officer looked troubled. Our scans detect no other vessels approaching. Could our intelligence be wrong? Kellex shook his head. Impossible. They must be waiting for something. Back on Europa, Ben Howard had arrived with a team of miners from the asteroid belt. They had brought something with them. A fleet of mining pods normally used to attach to asteroids. These pods have grappling equipment and drilling lasers, Howard explained to Governor Wright. Not powerful enough to penetrate warship shields, but maybe we can cause some confusion. Wright approved the plan immediately. The mining pods weren't designed for combat, but they were small and maneuverable. Howard and his miners launched from Europa's surface, heading straight for the Krell fleet. This is insane, one miner muttered, as they approached the massive alien warships. Probably, Howard agreed. But sitting and waiting to die seemed worse. The mining pods swarmed around the Krell ships like angry bees. Their drilling equipment and grappling hooks caused minimal damage but created distractions. Some miners even managed to attach to the hulls and drill into non-critical areas, causing minor system failures. From his command ship, Krell Commander Kellex watched in confusion. What are these tiny vessels? They cannot possibly threaten us. His tactical officer was less certain. They appear to be some kind of specialized boarding craft. Our shields are calibrated for energy weapons, not physical objects. On Europa's orbital platform, Allison Garrett had another desperate idea. The platform was scheduled for demolition and rebuilding next year. It contained large thrusters to maintain its position. If we overload the thrusters and aim the platform at the Krell command ship, she suggested to Admiral Martinez over the comm, we could do some serious damage. Martinez was silent for a moment. The platform is worth billions and took years to build. But it might save the colony, Garrett pointed out. Martinez gave the order. The few remaining crew on the platform evacuated in escape pods while Garrett stayed behind to program the thrusters. Done, she reported just before boarding the last escape pod. Impact in 3 minutes. The orbital platform, a massive structure, weighing thousands of tons, accelerated toward the largest Krell ship. Commander Kellex ordered evasive action, but the platform's trajectory was adjusted continuously by its onboard computer, following the warship's movement. The impact was catastrophic. The platform smashed through the Krell ship's shields and tore through its hull. Both the platform and the warship were destroyed in a spectacular explosion. The remaining Krell ships paused their attack. From the conclave observation vessel, Commander Kellex watched in shock. They sacrificed an entire space station as a weapon. He reported to his superiors. The humans are using their own infrastructure as ammunition. The Krell fleet regrouped, but the brief respite gave the Europa colony valuable time to complete its evacuation to the shelters. Admiral Martinez had lost 4 of his 7 ships, but the remaining 3 continued their harassment tactics. See you. The battle continued. A Krell commander sent an urgent message to his leadership. The humans are not deploying their real fleet because they don't need to. Their entire civilization is a weapon. President Laura Bennett stood before the conclave assembly, her face showing the strain of sleepless nights. As Earth's leader, she had traveled personally to plead for help while her people fought for survival. Members of the Galactic Conclave, she began, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. I come to you not as the leader of a powerful world, but as a representative of people who face extinction. The Krell attack on Europa has expanded. They now threaten Mars and Earth itself. The vast chamber held representatives from all 47 conclave species. Many watched her with suspicion, others with curiosity. For months there has been a misunderstanding between us. President Bennett continued. You believe Earth possesses a hidden fleet of advanced warships. I am here to tell you the truth. We do not. What you have seen is all we have. Murmurs filled the chamber. High Counselor Trell Van, leader of the conclave, leaned forward. Madam President, our intelligence suggests otherwise. Your people have displayed military capabilities far beyond your apparent technology level. Not military capabilities, Bennett corrected. Human adaptability. We use what we have because it's all we have. In a smaller room nearby, Ryan Cooper was meeting with a group of conclave military analysts. Once a history teacher and now an advisor to Earth's military command, Cooper had been brought along to help explain human behavior. Let me show you something, Cooper said, displaying images of Earth's history. This is World War II. When one nation was attacked, it converted automobile factories to build tanks and planes within months. Civilian ships became military vessels. Scientists who studied atoms for peaceful purposes created weapons. The aliens studied the images with growing understanding. During the Cold War that followed, Cooper continued, both sides developed advanced weapons because they feared the other was doing the same. Often this fear was based on misinterpretation of the other's intentions, just like what's happening now between humans and the conclave. Back in the main chamber, President Bennett was growing frustrated. Why would we hide our fleet while our people die? What possible reason could we have? Trellvan had no answer for this. He consulted quietly with his advisors. Meanwhile, at Earth's last defensive line near Mars, Admiral Diana Ward commanded the remaining ships of Earth's fleet. 3 patrol vessels had survived the Europa battle and joined her 5 ships protecting Mars and Earth. Against them were 17 Krell warships. All ships maintain formation, Ward ordered. Protection of the civilian transports is our priority. Thousands of civilians were being evacuated from Mars as the Krell approached. The colony had been deemed indefensible. Earth itself had activated every defense system it possessed, but everyone knew it wouldn't be enough if the Krell broke through. In the conclave chamber, an aide rushed in and whispered to Trellvan. The High Counselor's expression changed dramatically. Madam President, he said, we have just received intelligence that confirms your statements. A deep cover operative has accessed your military files and verified that your fleet truly is as limited as you claim. President Bennett didn't know whether to be relieved or angry. You infiltrated our systems? A necessary precaution, Trellvan said without apology. But this raises a more important question. If you have no hidden fleet, how have your people managed to resist the Krell so effectively? Ryan Cooper was brought into the main chamber to explain. He stood beside President Bennett facing the assembled representatives. Humans have a saying, Cooper began. Necessity is the mother of invention. Throughout our history, we have been most creative when under threat. When we can't match our opponents in strength, we find other ways to survive. He showed them footage. From the Europa defense, mining equipment turned into weapons, civilian structures sacrificed as ammunition, everyday tools repurposed for battle. This is not military strategy taught in academies, Cooper explained. This is human nature. We adapt, we improvise, we overcome, we use whatever is available. The conclave representatives watched in growing understanding. Trellvan turned to his chief military advisor, Vexmore. We misunderstood completely, Vexmore admitted. We saw their rapid technological advancement on Earth, their violent history, their war-themed entertainment. We assumed they were hiding their true capabilities from us. But they weren't hiding anything, Trellvan realized. This adaptability, this creativity and desperation, this is their true capability. As the conclave debated, the battle near Mars reached a critical point. Admiral Ward had positioned her 8 ships to cover the civilian evacuation, but the Krell were closing in. Last transport clear, reported her communications officer. All civilians are away. Good, Ward said grimly. Now we can fight without holding back. She ordered her ships to execute a maneuver they had practiced but never used in combat. The Earth vessels scattered, then accelerated directly toward different Krell ships. They're on suicide runs, a Krell commander shouted. Evasive action. But Ward's ships weren't planning to crash. At the last moment, they released their reactor cores and veered away. The ejected cores detonated near the Krell ships, creating electromagnetic pulses that disabled their systems temporarily. In that brief window, Earth's ground-based defenses fired everything they had. Long-range missiles that had been hidden in old satellite launchers, energy weapons that had been disguised as communication arrays. Every weapon that could reach space was fired at once. 3 more Krell ships were destroyed, and 2 heavily damaged. Word of this desperate but effective defense reached the conclave chamber. Trellvan looked at President Bennett with new respect. "The vote is complete," he announced. "The conclave will provide immediate military assistance to Earth. Our nearest fleet has already been ordered to your solar system." President Bennett sagged with relief. "Thank you. But will they arrive in time?" "We believe so. And we are sharing advanced shield technology that your people can implement quickly on your remaining ships." When the conclave fleet arrived at Mars, they found an astonishing sight. Admiral Ward's remaining ships had formed a defensive line with civilian vessels, mining ships, transport vessels, even space station modules connected together into makeshift barriers. The Krell, faced with reinforcements and confused by the humans' unpredictable tactics, chose to retreat. In the aftermath, as conclave engineers helped humans rebuild, Trellvan met with President Bennett on Earth. They stood watching the sunset over the Pacific Ocean. "We now understand the truth," Trellvan said quietly. "The galaxy feared Earth because we thought you were hiding your warships, but the reality is more frightening." "What do you mean?" Bennett asked. "Your people don't need dedicated warships. You turn everything into a weapon when threatened. Your entire civilization can shift to warfare overnight. Your greatest military asset is not technology or numbers, but human creativity and determination." He looked up at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. "The galaxy should indeed fear Earth, not because of what you hide, but because of what you create when pushed too far." 1 year later, with human innovation helping improve conclave technology, the first purpose-built human warships were unveiled. They combined conclave advanced technology with human unconventional design. As alien representatives watched the launching ceremony, an admiral from a distant conclave world whispered to his colleague, "Now I understand what my predecessor meant." In his final report, "The real reason to fear humans isn't their warships. It's that they were so dangerous even without them."